And welcome to Public Affairs Access here at hmstv.org. And I'm the guy that's going to be your host for today. And I'm Emmett Abati Doe. I've done some things here at HMS Media Source that's primarily been on the radio side. But this time is my first outage out of doing it on the television side. And I was given an opportunity to host this evening's program, which is a weekly one, and you got me this time. And I was asked what was an important subject of community and public interest that would fit in this particular slot. And I determined something that I have been working on is that we need to understand and begin to move towards stop giving old age a bad name. Take care of your health now. So that's the name of the program for today. Stop giving old age a bad name. Take care of your health now. And I think the most important thing probably to rephrase that is to stop giving an old age a bad name. Learn to take care of your health now so that you can enjoy good health in older age, which is a blessing. Because one of the things that prompted me to even look at launching this particular subject is the portrayal of older people and old age in our society. And most people, or I would say, unfortunately, very few people know older people that are in good health and older people that are not marking time based on when their medications are and, and when they have to go to the doctor, and their social calendar seems to be going to funerals and doctor's appointments. So I invited someone that I have a great deal of respect for and a man who is very, very eminently qualified to participate in this conversation on stop giving old age a bad name, take care of your health now. And that's Dr. Edward Group. And Dr. Group, welcome. It's an honor to have you here.
It's always an honor to be on your show. It's an honor to be here too, especially on Public Access, just because tonight's episode especially is so important. There are so many people out there suffering from poor health. I mean, we have a disease care system instead of a health care system. And in my practice, I have people coming in that are in their 30s that were CEOs of companies, 40s, and we're talking about old age, but these are guys that have enough money to retire and saved enough money to retire, and they come in and say, I want to enjoy my old age. I want to enjoy my retirement. I want to be healthy. And yet they have all the money in the world and they're sick. They're on 4 or 5 or 6 medications. Their joints hurt. They have chronic headaches. I mean, and they're coming to me saying, what do I need to do? I thought it was going to be opposite. I thought I was going to have the money and be able to just do whatever I wanted to do. And that's a very common thing now. I mean, you have people that are getting up into their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s. I mean, by the time someone's 70 years old, they're on an average of 10 to 15 medications. And medications are not addressing the root cause of the problem. They're just covering up the symptoms. So thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. Now, what I want to do is I want to let you know, as you can see, Dr. Group is qualified to talk about this because he's a young, handsome guy. But I want you to know a little bit more about me and why I can be running my mouth. So we're going to just play a 3-minute clip for you, and then we'll be back, and then we want to invite you to join us here at Public Affairs at HMS. Well, last night was extraordinary in that probably around 500 people gathered in the cold to participate in critical mass. Critical mass normally gathers anywhere between 500 and 2,000 or plus people. And it was kind of chilly last night. I'm Emmett Abati Doe. Old age is a blessing. And the way to get to that blessing is by taking care of your health now. By understanding and practicing supplementation, minerals, colloidal minerals, vitamins, good vitamins, hydration, good water, rest, and exercise are all critically important to the end result of having good health in old age and allowing older age to be a blessing to you. This is the energy where critical mass begins. I'm Emmett Abati Doe. Across from this sign is where critical mass begins. Start having fun outdoors, on your bike. Outstanding. Yeah. Get a bike. Ride a bike. Learn how to ride a bike if you've forgotten or if you never knew. And a couple of things that are very important to know about. One is an organization called Tour the Hood that I ride with every Wednesday, and that's 2305 Wheeler Avenue. And at 7 o'clock, we all get together and we go riding. And if you don't have a bike, that's okay. Bikes are provided. The most important thing is to get you getting involved with having fun outdoors and on a bike. Stop giving old age a bad name. Take care of your health now. And the way you do it is to become active. The way you do it is to supplement. The way to do it is to understand that you cannot eat good nutrition. Welcome back. Okay, so that's my claim to fame, folks. We did 20 miles that night, and people have been talking about critical mass, I understand, but critical mass is something that everyone should be in support of, whether you participate or not. Because if people are out there doing something that's physical, and they're doing something together, they're doing things in community, and people who don't even know each other, you know, come together with an activity. Don't let these people give critical mass a bad name. Come on down, watch it, understand what we're doing, and don't be hating on us because maybe you can't do it, okay? So come on down and you can practice and get in shape and pay attention to what we're going to be sharing with you today, and you'll be able to participate in, if not the next critical mass, but in critical mass sometime in the very, very near future. So welcome back to Public Affairs, Public Access is the name of this game, okay? Public Affairs, Public Access, and I'm going to get it right, boys and girls, trust me. And again, my guest is Dr. Edward F. Group. Again, welcome, Doc. And we want to talk about, I don't know whether the camera can pick up these items that are here on the table, but I want to talk about these very briefly And Doc, feel free to comment on them as well, because if we're talking about having good health, if we're talking about enjoying old age, we have to understand the importance of what we're doing to our children, what's being done, what we're doing to our children, and what others are doing to our children, and stop it. And stop it. Bringing ourselves up in consciousness to understand that there's nothing innocent going on. Now, these look very innocent. Unfortunately, they are displayed in almost every store, every grocery store, convenience store, where this, what I want to tell you, in my opinion, is poison. To an infant, this stuff is poison. Now, you may not be able to see it, and I don't know whether you can get a close up on these products, please. Okay, but these are very typical of the products that are being marketed to mothers and marketing to caregivers, etc., who do not understand, who have not educated themselves as to why this label should cause you to run in the other direction. And the last thing you want to do is to give your baby distilled water in the formula laced with fluoride. I mean, this is nothing but poison, which is going to result in those babies having soft bones and all kinds of issues in very, very early. They're not going to make it, folks. They're not going to make it. And this is not by accident. This is not by accident. And I would like to have Dr. Group express himself on this if he would like, and also why maybe what I'm saying isn't as far-fetched and radical as it might sound. And then after his comment, I'm going to invite you to call and participate with us here on Public Affairs, Public Access. Yes. And the phone number is 713-807-1794. Okay? 713-807-1794. And I'm reading it across the room without glasses on, so it better be 807 1794. Doc, is it an overstatement to say that a person who gives their child or who they're responsible for caring, these products and similar products like this are participating in some very bad behavior in the interest of their child or baby?
Absolutely. You know, what's happened is we live in a toxic environment. I mean, we're being exposed to toxic chemicals in the air that we breathe every day, in the water that we drink every day, in the vegetables, the foods, the processed foods, the genetically modified foods. I mean, we have a completely toxic world. And some of the most toxic chemicals, such as that, is fluoride. Fluoride is only second to arsenic as for toxicity levels. And you have to look at the big picture about how these chemicals work in the body and how they destroy the immune system, how they alter the hormone levels. Fluoride especially, which was used in the Nazi and German concentration camps to actually dumb people down, make them non-motivated, make them non-aggressive. But also, fluoride calcifies on your pineal gland, which completely alters your hormone levels. And for a small child, that's very important because a child needs its immune system. So, you know, the plan is really to keep people sick for a long period of time, and the only way you can keep people sick is to feed them full of chemicals and feed them full of toxins. So that way, they're always relying on the doctor. They're always going in for medications, or they're always having some sort of problem inside their system. And, you know, that's what led me to the research of what is the root cause of all these health problems, whether you have psoriasis, whether you have your hair falling out, or arthritis, or diabetes. It doesn't matter. I traced everything back, and just like you did, and anyone who spends the time and effort to just get out of that box, you know, do not believe every single thing you hear. Get out of the box, open up your mind. I mean, that's the real solution is for people to educate themselves and to open up their mind. Don't believe us when we say fluoride is bad for you. I mean, go online, type it in, you'll see. Don't believe us when we say vaccines are bad for you. Go online and type it in. You'll see what vaccines are made of. That's how I found out, because I wanted to go to medical school and be a medical doctor. And I was challenged and got into an argument one day with a guy that was treating cancer naturally. And he told me, look, go show me how any pharmaceutical is going to do good in the body. And I went and looked and broke down the pharmaceutical ingredients and found out that they do not fix the problem. All they do is cover the symptoms of the problem. And this is, I'm not talking about antibiotics or things like that, which is a whole nother problem. I'm talking about all the pharmaceuticals for the majority of the diseases that are actually made up anyway by the pharmaceutical companies, so they can make money. And it's a revolving door, because people are giving money to all the cancer associations, the diabetes foundations, and all these organizations. And all that money you're giving, thinking that you're actually giving money for them to find a cure, is going back into the system to cause more disease, so they can develop more prescription medications and keep you medicated. So you're actually paying them to create a poison that's going to poison somebody else in their life, and they're shortening the lifespan, and they're keeping you on multiple medications forever. And you know, I pulled a vaccine report when I was a kid, and I had 6 vaccines from the time I was born till the time I was 12. 6 vaccines. Now children are getting 36 vaccines in the first year of life. The immune system is not even fully developed till a child is 12 years old. So how can you expect that child to deal with all that toxic buildup and that mercury in those vaccines and the RNA and the DNA fragments from chicken embryos and all the other stuff that's contained in those, and formaldehyde and propylene glycol and all these chemicals, when a baby is just coming out and should be healthy and should be clean?
We have a caller. Caller, do you have a question for Dr. Group or a comment? Okay, well, did we hear something? No, not yet. Okay, well, while they're taking care of whatever's technically going on, I'd like to say that one of the tragedies is when you try to get people to understand the importance of breastfeeding. And when you suggest to a woman that, you know, that she should be breastfeeding, it's almost like you want to start a fight. And she seems to be more concerned about the shape of her breast than about what nature put the breast there to do. Now, for those who don't know what titties are for, could you give them a quick introduction as to why nature made titties and what they're for?
Well, it's to feed the baby, obviously, you know, and that's what we've got away from.
It ain't so, you know, it ain't so obvious anymore. I mean, you know.
Well, right. I mean, now
to look good in a bikini. What do you mean?
Even 10 years ago, when you saw a mother breastfeeding in public, it was taboo. I mean, and now at least it's a little bit more accepted for a mother to breastfeed. I'm a big promoter, because that's how the child gets their immune system, is from the mother's colostrum, from the mother's milk. You know, when you take a soy-based infant formula and you add fluoridated water to that soy-based infant formula, which is full of chemicals, and the soy is full of phytoestrogens, which increase the baby's estrogen levels, and if that baby is a boy and you're putting estrogen levels in there, it's going to feminize that young boy. And, you know, oddly enough, all of the welfare programs out there only allow you to buy the poisonous baby formulas, the ones that are actually going to poison and ruin your baby. So breastfeeding is, you know, you have to just look at the simplicity in things. I mean, all the marketing, all the advertising out there that tries to get you to buy this and tries to get you to buy that, that's all unnatural. It's all chemicals. It's all toxic that's coming into your system.
As soon as we get the caller set up, just bring the caller right in and have them introduce themselves and ask the question of Dr. Group or share their comment. Okay, so I don't want I don't want to interrupt Dr. Group, but at the same time, if there's a call, bring them on in. Bring them down. Come on down.
They're in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Great. This is Samuel calling out of Houston. Thank you so very much for this wonderful talk and discussion on health. What a great and stimulating program. My question regards ibuprofen and anti-inflammatories. I have a two-part question, unrelated. One question regarding ibuprofen and anti-inflammatories. It appears that a lot of folks, elderly and young alike, are popping these pills like they're candy for headaches and then arthritis. And I wanted to hear why is that a bad idea to take a couple ibuprofens, and what are some healthy alternatives to that? So that's one question. And then the last question is regarding schools and how poisonous schools are from the curriculum to the food. But I wanted just to focus on the food. There's a lot of folks that simply can't afford, they claim they can't afford to pack lunches for their children. So I'm really speaking to those that have affordable lunches or are on government programs where lunch is provided to the children. What alternatives or advice would you give to moms and dads that are looking for healthy foods for their children to take with them to school? And I'll hang up and listen. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. Good question.
Well, to address the first issue, I mean, ibuprofen, all of the pain medications out there are completely toxic. They end up causing stomach ulcers, which sends you in for more medication for your stomach ulcers. But the reason why people take those is because they're not listening to their body and they're not addressing the root cause of the problem. When you get a headache, it means that you have toxicity. When your joints hurt, whatever pain and inflammation that you have, the inflammation is caused and the pain is caused by some sort of toxic compound that's come into your system. This natural solution to that is to start cleansing your body. The cleaner your body is, see, everybody has a self-healing mechanism. We all have the ability to heal ourselves. We have the ability to control pain. We have the ability to control inflammation in our system. But when our body is so suppressed and our body is so full of toxic buildup and toxic residue from the artificial sweeteners that you're consuming, the preservatives, the microwave foods, the parasites in your body, the air that you're breathing, all the VOCs, the volatile organic compounds that you're breathing, and the chemical cleaning products, and the list goes on and on and on. If you're taking in 1 million chemicals on a daily basis, but you're only able to get rid of 500,000 chemicals on a daily basis, because the body has natural ways to eliminate these toxins through sweating, through respiration, through urination, through defecation, and then through menses with women. But how many people do you know that are defecating twice a day, that have proper urinary patterns, that are exercising and sweating and actually breathing at a normal pace? Not too many people. So we're on toxic overload. And what happens is your joints start to hurt. I mean, there's chemicals that actually cause that. Titanium dioxide is one of them. It gives you the symptoms of muscle aches and headaches and pain. Everybody is sensitive to multiple things. MSG, artificial sweeteners or neurotoxins, mercury, aluminum in deodorant, heavy metals that you're exposed to, breathing in the chemicals from your dry cleaning, from your dryer sheets. I mean, it just depends on what chemicals you're sensitive to. So instead of taking those artificial pain pills, what you really need to be doing is looking at your environment. You need to be looking at what you're eating, what you're exposing yourself to on a daily basis, and start eliminating some of those things from your environment. And what I use for natural replacements for headaches or for inflammation is enzymes. I mean, enzymes work really good to digestive and systemic enzyme products, and those are supplements that you can find at a supplement store. And then I also recommend what works the best for pain that we've tested is an oregano oil. I mean, oregano oil is something that's extremely effective. White willow bark is also something else, but White oregano oil works really good for pain and inflammation if you take it at the dose of like 15 drops 3 times a day with food. And make sure that they put that inside of a capsule because of oregano oil is very strong.
Okay, again, the number to call is 713-807-1794. And you'll be able to talk to Dr. Group and share your comment and observation here on Public Affairs, Public Access TV. And the other part of Sam's question was, how can poor mamas, poor folks, people who don't have a lot of disposable income, how can they move toward providing better nutrition for their children as they are being systematically limited and funneled into this sickness channel through so-called welfare programs? I mean, the most important thing is to get off of welfare. That's the most important thing. And you can get a hold of me. I can show you to tell you how to get that done. Okay.
Well, the thing is, it's designed for them to rely on a system because they're easily controlled that way. And you know, the easiest way to get out of that is to just go to farmers markets and budget the amount of money that you have to spend. I mean, you can't obviously use your welfare, which is a crazy thing, to buy healthy organic foods. You would think that you would be able to use your welfare stuff to do that, but some stores are actually going to more organic. I mean, it used to just be some major stores, but now pretty much you can find organic foods in many stores. The best thing to do is get some seeds and start your own garden. If you have a house or you have a little piece of land somewhere that you can find, start your own garden. And then the easiest and most inexpensive way to get nutrition in your system is, if you don't have a lot of money, raw organic apple cider vinegar. You can buy a 16-ounce bottle for $3 and you mix that in with your water. Now that's a whole nother issue because you're drinking tap water, and that's obviously going to be contaminated with arsenic, prescription drug residue, estrogens, all kinds of chemicals, cadmium, lead, etc. So the next issue is, well, how do I get clean water? Well, the only thing I can say for somebody that doesn't have access to clean water is to get rainwater. And rainwater, if you can collect it, you know, save your money and get a barrel or something like that, just let it rain for the first 10 or 15 minutes, or even 7 minutes. They say after about 7 minutes, all the chemicals that were in the air have gone down, and then you can put buckets out or anything and collect your own rainwater. I mean, it might sound tedious.
It's worth it.
But it's worth it. I mean, you're talking about your child's health, and fruit and vegetables. I mean, believe it or not, there's actually a lot of fruit trees and a lot of place to get vegetables for a good discounted rate here.
We have a caller, and then I want to ask you a question about, are we eating too much? Are we eating too frequently? And by eating too frequently, that really puts a burden on a limited budget. And should we be more concerned about the quality of each meal as opposed to the quantity of the number of meals? Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Caller?
Yes, this is Joaquin calling from Houston, Texas. I want to say great show, gentlemen, and looking forward to being more. I had a couple of questions also. One being, I've been having concerns about the amalgam fillings that have been practiced for so long with regards to, you know, when you have a cavity or something, dentists have been putting in these fillings. And I heard you guys mention that mercury, you know, is a toxicity. So what should people who have amalgam fillings in their mouths do about that? And is there a danger with that? We don't hear a lot about it, and I've actually talked to dentists, and most of them say, oh, it's not a problem, you know, it won't cause any health problems or anything. But I've been told also that gold or silver would also be better feelings. So that's question number one, and then I can go to the next one after I get this answer.
Well, let me tell you, mercury is one of the most toxic elements that you can possibly imagine, and to put it in the mouth is just ludicrous. I mean, you know, that's another way that they can keep you chronically ill, because you inhale, when you drink anything hot, like hot tea, hot coffee, anything, you're going to release mercury vapors. And there's actually videos of that online. If you type in mercury vapor from tooth in Google, and you'll actually see that. I recommend removing your mercury amalgams. Now, the only problem with that is it's expensive, but then can you put a price tag on your health? You have to go to a biological dentist, though, because if you don't remove the mercury the right way, you have to have a dental dam in there, you have to be running some ozone, you have to be, some dentists use vitamin C drips, IV drips. There have been cases where people have gone to dentists to remove the amalgams and gotten so poisoned by the mercury that they were actually paralyzed from the waist down. And they have severe paralysis and severe symptoms and permanent damage. A lot of times people go to Mexico, they go to different countries to have the amalgams removed. I would recommend finding a biological dentist, a good one, that does remove the mercury amalgams. It's one of the best things. I had like 4 or 5 teeth that had mercury amalgams in. I was suffering from headaches for years and years. I had health problems. It's hard for your immune system to ever come back if you have mercury in your mouth. And so that's one of the main things that we would tell people to do that were sick is get your mercury amalgams removed. I mean, if you need to, sell your car, do whatever you need to do. I mean, really, you can't enjoy life and you can't take advantage of life and health, especially since we're talking about getting old. You know, your body does get old eventually. I mean, and if you want to enjoy life and not be so dependent on the doctors all the time, then you need to start taking those steps to get those things replaced.
And your second question, Joaquin, are you still on the?
Yes, I'm still here, and thank you very much for that answer. Yes, I've been really concerned about that for quite some time, and I will do my very best to try to get that resolved. My second question had to do with the current situation that's going on with the nuclear situation in Japan, and I have a lot of relatives that are in California on the West Coast. And I'm concerned about what's happening, that we're not getting a lot of information about that. And I'm wondering, what are your thoughts and feelings about, the fallout that's coming from the actual disaster with Fukushima Daiichi system out there?
Thank you very much for that call.
Okay.
All right, that's the big one.
Well, let me tell you, that is a huge issue right now, and the media has not been reporting on it at all. And the reason why is because they don't want everybody to freak out. But we've had massive amounts of radiation dumped on the West Coast, California. And as a matter of fact, the garbage trucks that pick up garbage all throughout California have to go through a radioactive scanner just to make sure nobody is throwing away any radioactive materials, and so that doesn't go into the landfill. And the trucks and the radiation detectors are going haywire right now. They're tracing it, even tracing it back to babies' diapers. Okay, so that means the babies are consuming radiation. We have a major wave. Fukushima, they're removing the fuel rods right now, and Fukushima has a constant cloud or steam of radiation coming out. But the main wave of the radiation hit the West Coast and is hitting the West Coast right now. We're getting reports of birth defects, infertility, thyroid problems, because you have high levels of cesium-137, you have uranium, you have radioactive iodine. One of the best things people can do is start taking and cleaning their bodies right now and protecting themselves, because it's a great point, caller, because these are things that everybody needs to know. You're not going to find out this information on the news, okay? There's no way they're going to scare half the world and say, hey, we have a nuclear disaster and people are dying and people are going to die and people are coming down with cancer all around California, Oregon, Washington, stuff like that. They're not going to tell you that all the plants, the soil is contaminated, but it is. And you're going to start hearing more and more about that on a regular basis. There are some radiation programs available. Go online, look for natural radiation protection. You definitely want to protect your kids. Kids and older people are more susceptible to radiation damage. Their immune systems aren't working as good. Their organs are not working as good. So they're going to come up with more diseases. They're going, if your hair's falling out, there's a whole list of symptoms that goes along with radiation poisoning. I would suggest people go online and start educating themselves and type in Fukushima dangers. radiation from Fukushima. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's people on YouTube right now that are taking Geiger counter readings on the West Coast and all throughout Oregon and Washington pretty much on a daily basis. You can literally see for yourself what's going on, but you're not going to find it in major TV. You're not going to find it, you know, in newspapers, in magazines. You're going to have to find it online.
We have another epidemic that we're confronted with as a society, and in my opinion, it can be translated into the phrase the feminization of masculinity, and the feminization of our boys, and how that's connected to the estrogen, how that's connected with the systematic intent to weaken potential adversaries to the program or to the system, because if you, they have so villainized aggression that everybody has, not everybody, but a lot of people have been programmed